Alright, welcome back. So as shown by the title, we're making those billiard ball ornaments. That's a mouthful. Which you can get the vintage ones online somewhere, or the remake of the vintage ones for cheaper. The ones I've made are even cheaper, but if you're wanting to give these as a handmade gift, that's even better. I'm going to be going off of this photo with matching the colors and how the numbers are laid out, etc. But first we must sand these crappy plastic ornaments from the dollar store. They come in a pack of 6. You can pick whatever colors you want, but just know, and I will be going over this again, that the red ones don't take white primer very well at all, at least primer that isn't black. I sanded each one down with a dollar store sanding block, as well as removed all of the hanger pieces from the top. Luckily, I bought more than I thought I would need because there were some casualties. Oh, lovely. And so we begin. Pour out one for the homies. Among the cheap plastic store ornaments, who knew? I feel like the Grinch in that one scene. Are these 2 different sizes? Okay, they're 2 different sizes. Cool. And this is why we wear gloves. You'll be seeing me take this route a few times through this process, and that is using my drill and a thick wire to hang the ornaments. This time around to get these sanded ones out of the way. Don't know when that happened, but okay. It's a good thing I had extra, I suppose. As well as using various other objects to keep them from rolling around, as a few had already died and I didn't have enough to actually add more to that list. Especially considering the sanding of them made them more fragile, as you probably would expect. Once I had them all sanded, I wiped them down, 1 with a damp cloth, and then following that up with 2, the dry side of the damp cloth to rid of the dust, dirt, and debris. Make for a clean slate to build off of. It was then time to place my painting sheet down. Slashed open. Oh my god. Now I feel like one of those TikTok accounts that's like the mystery bundles. Oh my god. Question is, can I actually figure this out? And contain them all in one place to make this easier to spray paint. I added some floral foam and pressed nails into it, pointy side up, as these were the perfect size to rest my bulbs on. And then I pressed some plastic over top so that the nails would actually poke through to kind of protect the floral foam. And then place the ornaments on top. For the primer, I'm using a shellac spray primer in a white, which works like a charm on these silver balls, and I added black onto one of the ornaments. This will be the 8 ball eventually. For this, are you ready? I might not be ready. Okay. Because the primed ornaments were on the top of the nails, I wasn't able to get to the underside, so I waited for them to dry down, which didn't take very long, flipped them over, and sprayed the bottom of it. I guess the top, actually, not the bottom. But anyways, I digress. While those were off drying, I started on the second batch, which is when I found out that the silver ones are the only ones that take kindly to the white primer. Whatever makes the red ones, well, red, does not like the white primer put on it, and it comes right through no matter how many layers you actually put on. But more on that later. Alright, so I couldn't tell you why, but apparently these don't take primer. For now, we're adding all of the funky colors to the ornaments, matching what I have in the photo I'm going off of on my phone. Oh my god. As well as just trying to test out the method that works finally for painting on the red ones, a black primer, specifically Plastidip. Don't ask me why this works. It could be that it's a plastic coating kind of primer rather than just a regular primer, or that it's specifically a black primer because black just covers everything. Whatever the science behind it is, it works. Not perfect, but... Then continuing on with the funky colors. It kind of reminds me of a balloon, like, you'll float too! You'll float down here. Once I had all the colors out of the way, I did the rest with an off-white, specifically heirloom white. I did jump back and forth with some of these depending on what dried the fastest. Once all the spray painting was done though, I added a layer of resin to each of them. For one, to seal in the spray paint as to not let any of the chemical from the spray paint actually have a reaction to anything I may be putting on this, as well as adding a layer of protection because I had sanded these down and they were definitely lacking some structure, as well as adding the hanger back onto some of them. Basically using the resin as the glue to hang them. Once the resin had cured, it was time for the paint job. I went through a bunch of random stuff. I had to determine what size I wanted the actual circle to be and landed on an acrylic bottle cap. These I just grabbed from the dollar store. I would paint the rim with the white paint from within actually and press it onto the middle of the bulb and then paint the inside of that with more white. It's kind of giving Mike Wazowski vibes already. There wasn't a lot of math for these, but each bulb did have a seam on it, so I just kind of followed that as an indicator. Even, like, with the texture and everything, this literally looks like an orange. Like, that's wild. Okay. It's perfect orange color, too. And this really looks like a lemon. At least the lemon color. As those dried, it was time for the stripes. And for that, some math was needed. I measured down from the hanger piece 1.25 inches all the way around, and then made the actual stripe 1 inch thick. And then added some painter's tape on either side so the middle would be the smoothest part. And I did a couple of these at once, painting a thick layer of the acrylic paint on, and then let it dry down and determined if I wanted to add another layer. If it was as opaque as I wanted it to be, I would remove the tape and use that tape to do another one. If not, I would just simply do another layer. When each one was done, I came in with the color I had used once again on a thin brush to touch up anywhere where the color had bled out. Some of them I did custom mix. Oh, there's a lot of bleeding on that one. Putting those aside to fully dry and back onto the solids. It sounds like someone's sick. Which I'm now using a pencil on to just simply map out the number or the numbers on each. When all the numbers look like I wanted them to, I used a thin permanent marker to go over all of my lines, which got a little bit messy, so I put the nice ones off to one side and the messy ones off to another side. And with the messier ones, I just came back in with the white acrylic paint to touch up around the numbers. By this point, these stripes are dry, and I can add that same circle onto all of them. When that was dried down, I did the same with their numbers. Then it was time for another layer of resin to seal it all in. And add on any hangers that I hadn't already, again using the resin as a somewhat glue. That is it for today's video. I do hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.